Here we are, a little less than 20 hours away from what could potentially be a very, very good final with Sasha Zverev and Alcaraz making for both of them their first time making this trip to the finals of Roland Garros. In the press, Alcaraz was asked one of those typical dumb questions that we hear. Oh, Carlos, do you think you're better on clay or grass, or did you want to be good at all surfaces when you were young? But his answer was somewhat profound.
I always wanted to be one of the best players in the world. If I want to be, one of the best players in the world, I have to be a good player in every surface, like Roger did, Novak, Rafa, Murray, the best players in the world.
Please excuse him for that. Andy Murray. We all love Roger, Rafa, Novak, and especially Andy Murray. Anyways, I thought that was a great answer from Carlos. He said since he was young, he wanted to be one of the best players in the world, and of course that means you have to be good on all the surfaces, like those legends, the big three. You also have to be able to come up with incredible shots under extreme pressure when most people would be a little scared, a little nervous, a little tight, and unable to do these sort of things. Take a look at this. This was a shot. I watched tennis for 20 years. I see a lot of great shots. I get excited over tennis. This was exceptional excitement I experienced witnessing this moment. That's big. That's better. I mean, to do that on such a big stage, such a big match, and a big moment in the match. I think this is 3-3 in the fourth set. Unbelievable. There's another guy, though, of course, in this final. It's not all about Carlos Alcaraz. Take a look at this, handpicked by Mr. GOAT, his favorite shot of the tournament thus far. This will be the guy going up against Carlitos Alcaraz tomorrow's final.
Yeah!
Mr. GOAT!
Oh!
Okay, sorry. Mr. GOAT always programs in some videos that are not tennis related, but that wasn't so bad, Mr. GOAT. All right, let's play this one.
Made it. What a shot that was round the net.
What a shot. What a shot indeed. I mean, that's got to be the best shot of the tournament. If they would have waited a little long, Mr. Roland Garros, they probably would have put this as the shot of the day.
Misses the net by a couple of inches.
Yeah, sure, Casper Ruud wasn't playing or feeling his very best, but he was playing pretty good in that first set, and Zverev, we'll play what he said in a moment, but Alcaraz said it first. Take a listen to this. What is the difference when these great players, especially Sinner and Alcaraz, is a very close match for a little while there. I mean, we went 5 sets. I think in the fourth set, even in the beginning of the third set, I think most people felt like it was about to be flip-it time, just like back in Indian Wells earlier this year when Alcaraz lost the first set to Sinner and then turned it on and took that title. Many of us thought that was going to happen in the third set. Of course, it took a little longer than that with him ultimately winning in 5, but it looked like Carlos had the advantage in the fourth. We'll look at the stats and tell you exactly why by the numbers, but here's Carlos telling you without any numbers, this is what it always comes down to.
I'm going to say the key was that I took my chances that Yannick brought to me.
That's right. Even great players like Yannick Sinner, they will bring. Yannick brought to me some chances, and he took them. I think Zverev said it even a little better. He's better at English than Carlos is, so maybe he has an unfair advantage right there.
Some of the shots that you're taking on, they all go in. Are you more confident now than you've been for a few years?
I had to.
Or just better, or just better?
Well, I had to today. If I waited, you saw how quickly the first set went away. And Casper is too good of a player to be waiting and to not try to play your game. I did that last year. I lost very, very easily, and I did that in the first set. Lost also the first set very easily. So I knew I had to be much more aggressive. I knew that I had to take it on to him, and I did. I'm happy the balls went in today, and I'm happy to be in the final.
I was aggressive. I took the chances, and I am happy that the balls went in. I am happy to be in the finals. Yeah, Casper Ruud had the same stomach bug that was bothering Aryna Sabalenka. Took her out of the tournament, perhaps. The only player in the draw, maybe, who had a chance to stop Iga Swiatek today, who now has almost a quarter, about a quarter, almost a, what is it, a quarter, almost a third she's getting close to Rafa territories. Won 3 in a row. First person to do that in 10 years. So congratulations to Swiatek. But back to Zverev and Alcaraz. This is a tough match to pick. And everyone's had their problems in these Final Four at the French Open. We saw lots of cramping from Alcaraz as well. Alcaraz is taking pickle juice now, a special concoction of pickle juice and some other things that apparently helped him. Sinner, we know, has had issues with cramping. Of course, the stomach bug took out Casper Ruud, but not before he started off pretty strong and showed Zverev the way, right? So it's a big deal for Zverev to experience that feeling of I'm getting blown out again, just like the last time I was here playing Casper Ruud last year. To experience that, and then tell yourself, I have the weapons. I'm going to take the chances. I might miss, but if I play conservatively like this, I'm definitely going to lose. So to be able to turn it on and go for it, that says a lot for Sasha Zverev. Of course, Alcaraz did the same thing, and we'll look at the stats in today's show. There's some metrics that you don't always see in most matches and tournaments, but in big tournaments, sometimes they track more data. And there's some interesting stats. It's funny, they don't have them. It wasn't available for the Casper Ruud-Zverev match, but the stats were available for Alcaraz, and they show how he was the more bold player, the braver player in the big moments. And the same went for Zverev. This is one of the hardest finals to pick for me ever. But don't worry, by the end of this show, we will have a pick, and I will tell you who is going to win. And as I was correct in picking these 2 semifinal results, I also picked Swiatek to win today, too, against the Italian. The Italian girl has never been in a final before. That was an easy one. As I was correct in these semifinal picks, I think I may be correct tomorrow. But first, you guys know here at Coffee Break Tennis, I like to look at things on the bright side. I am an optimist, and studies have revealed recently that optimists, they have happier lives, and they live longer and healthier lives as well. I saw a lot of cramping from Sinner, which does not bode well for him. We even have some advice on his cramping from Mats Wilander that we'll get to in a little bit. But we saw cramping in the hand. We saw cramping spread to the arm. And then finally, we saw this, which gives many of us regular mortals a little feeling of hope. Take a look at this. That's a lot of jiggle in that rub down right there. Let's see that one more time. Look at that thing just jiggling away. So next time you're at the beach, you're worried about people seeing your fadubbadas jiggling around, just remember, it happens to the best of us. Even super skinny, red-headed, carrot-eating, #1 in the world tennis players. We all got a little jiggle in different places on our body, and it's okay. Welcome to the show. Coffee Break Tennis. I am Matt Bradshaw. Happy to be here, your humble, tennis-loving, tennis-obsessed host. Like I said, Mats Wilander says here in the Express, our old buddy Yasmin Saeed, Jannik Sinner urged to put on more muscle and warned it might take 4 years. Now, I remember, I've been watching tennis long enough to remember when Zverev had the same problem. I don't recall seeing him cramp all the time. And I'll just put this out there right now. With all the cramping we've seen and stomach bugs we've seen, I don't remember ever seeing the Big Four go through things like this. And Zverev, it's hard not to pick Zverev for tomorrow. He's got the weapons. He's in the perfect time of his career. He's 27, 28 years old now. He's got a lot more experience. It's hard not to pick him, but it took a long time. By the way, some of you might have been waiting to hear the Beer Hall Freitag music. Some stuff came up. We had 2 very long matches yesterday, so I didn't get to do the video. I was going to try to do Beer Hall Samstag today, but my band's playing this evening, and now I have been recruited to fill in for another band who's missing a bass player. So I'm going to pop in and help them out playing a daytime weekend music festival that I have to be at in less than 3 hours. So Beer Hall Freitag usually, and Samstag as well. It takes a little bit longer. Maybe we'll do a Beer Hall Montag after the final. Maybe we'll do a Beer Hall next to Monada. I don't know. Anyways, listen to what Mats Wilander has to say. We're going to try to do a short and quick show today, and by the end, I promise I'll tell you who the true champion will be tomorrow. Despite being older than Alcaraz, Sinner is less experienced player at Grand Slams. He has one major title to the Spaniards too, and Mats Wilander believes that the 22-year-old still has time to find his best tennis. I think Jannik Sinner is a work in progress. Only in the next 3 to 4 years, maybe more, he can put on more muscle. He's so smart, he's going to realize that you have to listen to your body. The 7-time Grand Slam champion Mats Wilander used the ultimate champion, 20-time Grand Slam champion Roger Federer as an example, claiming that the Swiss star managed to maximize his game when he couldn't match Rafa and Novak in other areas. He continued, Roger, did he ever sweat? Did he ever get tired? No. Could he run farther than Rafa and Novak? Probably not. But he learned how to listen to his body, and I think today Alcaraz did that today better than Sinner. Sinner and Alcaraz also face other problems as they cramp due to the nerves and the tension. Do you remember the big three cramping due to nerves and tension? They're young. I think it's more of like a muscle development thing with Sinner. Alcaraz, maybe it is nerves and tension, but good thing he's drinking the pickle juice. I was for sure, so this is what Sinner said, I had some tension for sure. Tension, and after I had cramps a little bit. So I don't know if Sinner's saying it's related to the tension that he had cramps. I think it's his skinny body. Skinny legs, skinny arms. I handled these situations a little bit better now. I had previous years a couple of, these kind of moments where I couldn't handle them. If we watch that, I handled them a little better this year. It was quite early in the match. We didn't play so much, so I was not worried about my body. I was keeping up quite well. Maybe it was nerves related since it happened so early. Let's listen to Sinner again. I told you guys before the match, I think Sinner's going to have a hard time beating Alcaraz throughout their careers on the clay, and Alcaraz is going to have a hard time beating Sinner at Wimbledon, especially if Sinner plays anywhere near his best, and Sinner knows that as well. Look at this slight little hint that he dropped in the press conference.
And I think, next time, obviously, it's going to be different. Let's see on what surface we play on.
Let's see what surface we play on.
Important. Best of 3 or best of 5, it's also different. Grand Slam is now there's a different approach.
He's looking forward to it, and he says, we'll see what surface we end up on next time me and Carlos play, knowing that it's likely to be at Mr. Wimbledon's house coming up very soon. By the way, that great point that we played in the beginning of Alcaraz sliding and getting that big shot, I believe it was 3-all, and he was down love 15, I want to say. Anyways, a big moment in the fourth set. He needed to take charge of that after losing the third, being down 2-1. And it sends a message to everybody in the stadium, and especially your opponent, when you pull something off like that. And maybe they're wondering where you are at currently mentally in the match. Anyways, take a look at this. Many of you see behind me, over the years, I decided to go into the forest and watch the tennis yesterday. It was kind of nice weather here, low humidity. And there was a deer. I heard something behind me. I was like, who's sneaking up on me? And it was a deer, as you can see. Anyways, let's go to the stats. The stats bear out what happened with Sinner and Alcaraz. If you look at them, actually, they're very close. Alcaraz getting 10% more of the first serves in. That's pretty key on clay because, with the second serve, you can kick it and hope for the best and run around, but you want first serves going in because you won't get as many free points on the clay, obviously, from big first serves, but you'll have easier points, especially when they go in a lot. Not every time against these guys, the best players in the world who are so good at returning, but you'll get some easier points when you get a lot of first serves in. And Alcaraz winning less on the first serve than Sinner, winning equal 46% on second serve, both of them, getting more break points out of it, right? He had to save 4 out of 10 opportunities for Sinner. Sinner saved 8 out of 14 opportunities for Alcaraz. So Alcaraz created 4 more break point opportunities. The winners, way more unforced errors, but a lot more winners. Almost not quite, but 39-65, not too far off from doubling the amount of winners and hitting 58 to 44 unforced errors. So as Alcaraz said, he had to go for it and take his chances when the opportunities were given by Sinner to him. And you can see there, he definitely went for it a lot more, hitting so many winners and a fair amount more unforced errors. But look at this. This is really interesting to me. We see this every now and then in tennis. It's a weird sport. Total points won, right? Service points won. Alcaraz not winning as many if you put first and serve points throughout all 5 sets together. 59% won for Alcaraz, 61% for Sinner, 39% on second serve. So he's losing in both categories, which ultimately leads him to have won 145 points throughout the entire match. Sinner, 147. So just a couple, but Sinner won more points. He lost the match, but he won more points than his opponent who won. And let's isolate the 4th and 5th set because that's really when Alcaraz turned it on and ultimately is making me lean towards him in my pick for who's going to win the whole thing tomorrow. Alcaraz turned it on when he needed to most, whether it be a break point, whether it be within one set for the whole match, but especially in the 4th and the 5th set. So look at the numbers there. Taking more risk on the first serve, his percentage goes down. Sinner's pretty steady, I think. Was that correct? Yeah, for the whole match, Sinner was 56, Alcaraz 66. But in that fourth set, Sinner drops a little to 60, and Alcaraz drops a lot to 59%. But look at the win on first serve. Sinner getting 80, but Alcaraz getting 94. And 33 on the second. It's kind of amazing that he wins with that number, but he faced no break points. He got almost 60% of his first serves in, and he won almost 100% of them, 16 out of 17. So he never faced a break point. Pretty clutch there. Whereas Sinner, healthy numbers on first and second, but he had that one break point and wasn't able to win it. He loses his serve there. Take a look at this, though. This is what really tells you what matters the most. Where is it? Oh, this is set 5. Let's look at this first. Alcaraz getting more first serves in, winning more on the first serve, winning about the same on second serve, 62 to 64 for Sinner. Break point saved, didn't face any break points again. Sinner faced 2, only able to save 1. And then look at this. This is the big stat for me. I think this is the whole match. I believe this is for the whole match. Pressure points. Now, what are pressure points? They're not just break points. They're also like 30 all, 40 all deuce points. You know, these are big moments. Because you get the 30 all, you lose it, now you're facing a break point. Or you lose it, now you missed the chance to have a break point when you're returning serve. If you look at that, this is not for the whole match because this must be the 4th or the 5th set. You look at that, pressure points, Alcaraz wins 71%, 5 out of 7. Sinner only wins 2 out of 7, 29%. Service points won in total, Sinner wins more. He wins more service points and more return points in total than Alcaraz. Alcaraz wins 2 more points, just like Sinner did for the whole match. This must be the 4th or 5th set. I can't remember. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter, though. You see where I'm going with this. The pressure points, and you always hear it in big matches. He played it was very close. I had my chances. The guys who lose say this often. But he played the big points better than me, and Alcaraz obviously did that. Take a look at this, and that was a stat. You don't always see pressure points. You don't always see that recorded. Like I said, I couldn't even find that for Zverev and Casper Ruud. Not as important in that match as Casper Ruud kind of went away with his stomach bug, but Zverev still didn't let him even believe he could work his way back into it, which is important to point out. Alcaraz second serve return placement. Alcaraz did a good job of making sure Sinner, even though he might have won more second serve points than Alcaraz did in some of the sets, this is, if you just imagine you're on Sinner's side where it says Alcaraz second serve return plays. Imagine you're Sinner, you're standing right there. These are the balls coming to you after you hit a second serve. 65% of the time, he's forcing Sinner to hit a backhand. 15% of the time, it went into the forehand side. 20% of the time, it went right up the middle. That's a pretty big deal. Not letting Sinner go second serve into the forehand. That would have made things a lot harder. You would have saw the win on second serve return numbers go down for Alcaraz if that happened. And then here's another thing interesting just to see. And another reason why you got to lean towards Alcaraz for tomorrow, even though Zverev is looking the best. Obviously, I don't want to get into it. We don't have a lot of time today, but he won his court case, or it was settled out of court. But basically, he won, right? It's over. It's not going to be an issue for him anymore, so it must be a relief to Sasha Zverev. But take a look at this. Alcaraz, just first serve, second serve, doesn't matter. I mean, okay. You can see he didn't get much closer than what I think this is in meters. He didn't get much closer than like 1.5 meters on the first serve return, whereas second serve, sometimes he got a meter inside the court almost. But still, other than that, whether it's first or second serve, Alcaraz changed up his return position constantly. He was everywhere, just doing whatever it took to find a way to get through. That bodes very well for Alcaraz, I think. Just the fact that he's willing to do that and did eventually find success. Let's go over to Casper Ruud and Sasha Zverev's match. This is what's going to be a challenge, I think, for Alcaraz tomorrow. Although he's going to play a lot better than Casper Ruud. He had a harder match than Zverev did, but he's ultimately spent less time on court. We'll look at those numbers in a little bit. But Sasha Zverev getting 68% of his first serves in, right? Ruud is kind of similar to Nadal in a lot of ways. He's like, some people call him a right-handed Rafa. One thing Rafa does so well is get a ton of first serves in so that he can make the first ball a forehand after his serve comes back to him. And Sasha Zverev, he's not taking anything off the first serve, at least compared to Ruud or Nadal. He's getting more first serves in at 68%, 67% for Ruud, and he's winning almost 90%, 86% of the first serve points won by Sasha Zverev, 69, double digits less for Casper Ruud. Same goes, double digits, 54% second serve point won for Zverev to 40% for Casper Ruud. If a guy's getting in that many first serves and he's winning about 90% of the time, it's almost impossible to break. And Casper Ruud talked about that in his presser. Take a listen to Casper Ruud, boy. Let me cue that up for you. Break points won. Zverev only faced 3. Casper Ruud faced 12. Alcaraz, if he's in a situation like that at all, it's going to be really hard for him to win.
Some of his best level, he will have to answer for himself. But I think serving-wise, he was putting on a clinic today. I maybe wasn't returning great, but he picked the spots pretty well with the serve especially, and from the baseline he's steady from both sides, and the backhand, of course, we know it's a beautiful shot. He can rip it cross down the line, and it's a good baseliner. So I mean, he has everything that you need to play a good clay court tennis, I would say, and I think that he's the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, I guess he's playing some of his best tennis in a while.
Absolutely true. Good analysis there from Casper. The guy is serving unbelievable. Like I said, I think mentally he is in the place where, as Sasha said, if not now, then when, right? He said when he played Dominic Thiem 4 years ago almost in the U.S. Open final, he was too immature, which I can agree with, right? If you've watched Coffee Break Tennis long at all, I've gone hard on Zverev for a long time. Maybe when he was very young, I said, oh, this guy, who wouldn't? This guy's very promising, a lot of talent. And then the longer he was, supposed to be winning, at least getting into the second week at majors, right? Getting into the fourth round, all these disappointing losses he had, plus the story of, I think, was it Juan Carlos Ferrero, the coach? So a little revenge, maybe? It's been a while, maybe not. Maybe that's probably not how they look at it, but I want to say Juan Carlos Ferrero, who's now the coach of Alcaraz, was a little bit the coach for Zverev, and then they parted ways, and the story was that Zverev didn't want to show up when Ferrero said it was time for practice. Zverev said, I like to sleep in. I'm going to wake up at noon and show up at practice when I feel like it. He was always late. Ferrero was out there waiting on him. And Ferrero said, this guy isn't serious. He's disrespectful to me. He was polite about it. How coaches are. People when they talk to the media, they try to keep things nice. But basically, that was the gist of it. And Ferrero fired Zverev, if I remember that correctly. Maybe it was somebody else. I can't recall now, but I'm pretty sure it was Juan Carlos Ferrero. Things like that made me feel like, Zverev, this guy, he doesn't have the right attitude. Tactically, he's backing up too much, not taking chances when he needs to. He's letting the ball come to him instead of going forwards and striking the ball and attacking his opponents. He's fixed all of those things, it appears. He is much more mature of a player with the tactics on court and the mental side, which is maybe even more important. Speaking of tactics on the court, take a look at this. We all know Rafa Nadal's best shot is his forehand, maybe the best forehand of all time. And Casper Ruud's best shot is also his forehand. And this is very interesting to me. The yellow balls you see are less than 130 kilometers per hour, which I'm trying to figure out what that would be. It's probably about 75 to 80 miles per hour if you're not a European and you're American. And then over 130, they're averaging 136 on the side to the forehand, averaging 117 when hitting to Casper Ruud's backhand. Now, again, imagine down here on the bottom of the screen, that's where Casper Ruud is. These are the balls coming at you. When Zverev hit to the forehand side, he went very big, right? He ramped it up about 20 kilometers per hour faster. And also look at the depth there. There's a lot of balls landing near the service line. But you see those blue balls. You see those balls that are colored blue in the deep forehand side corner for Casper Ruud. Going with depth, going with power. If I have to hit to your strength, I'm gonna freaking blast it, was Zverev's plan. He'll probably need to do the same thing against Alcaraz tomorrow, who also has an incredible forehand, one of the best forehands on tour. And then here's another thing, just to show you. He was taking not the greatest picture of Sasha Zverev and Casper Ruud there, but you could see Zverev taking advantage in the 0 to 4 shot rallies. Serve is 1, return is 2, That first forehand from Zverev after his serve is number 3. Maybe he's trying to finish it right there. Or maybe he hits it so well that number 4 shot is an error from Casper Ruud, right? Going over 5, Casper Ruud had the advantage 29-25, but 68-50, that's a lot more points. That's +4 for Casper and +18 for Sasha Zverev. So it paid off. He was attacking. You saw how he was really attacking the forehand when he had to hit to that side of the court. And he was winning those points that are so important, the serve +1 style points, 0-4 shots. Ultimately, who will win tomorrow? That is the big question. Ranking 3-4, throw that out, doesn't matter. Head-to-head 4-5. Let's put that head-to-head on the screen, actually. I did forget. I did want to show that. But before we do that, time on court, 16.5 hours to 19.5 hours. Zverev has spent more time on court, but the last couple matches have been easier for Zverev. They have the day off today, of course. Whereas that last match for Alcaraz with Sinner, that was mentally challenging, physically challenging. That was everything. So I kind of neutralize this and say they're about the same. The tough matches for Zverev it's been a while. That was the beginning of the week that Zverev was playing those 5-set matches. Grand Slam titles, 2 for Alcaraz. He's done it. This is a major mental hurdle. It can be, at least. Because you look over on that other side and you see 22 titles to 13, but Zverev has a bagel of Grand Slams. Maybe he's going to find himself down at some point in this match, and he's going to say, maybe I'm never going to win one of these things. I don't know. No one knows for sure. Maybe he'll tell us in press what he was thinking, but a lot of stuff goes through your head, and that's why Novak Djokovic has said everyone in the top 100 in the world has a great forehand, backhand serve. Top 10 tennis, champion tennis, Grand Slam champion tennis is all about the mental side. And who knows what's going to be going through Zverev's head when he is in big trouble at times in this match. I think a good thing went through his head when he was in big trouble against Casper Ruud. Got destroyed last year, goes down easily in the first set, we just picked it up where we left off from last year. And then mentally, he didn't think, God, here I am blowing another chance to be, doing what my life's goal has been, to win a Grand Slam or multiple slams. He probably would have been his goal. Maybe he's adjusted it now as he's gotten older till, hey, I just want to win 1 or 2, and at least I can be happy. Maybe he's going to think about how, God, this Alcaraz guy is so good. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm never going to win it. These young guys are getting better and better. Or maybe he's going to think, hey, I'm losing. It's time to step it up and go for it. If not now, then when? And I'm going to take it to him. I think tomorrow's match is going to be very good. And ultimately, forget about it. I got to hurry. So we won't look at the head-to-head, but there's good wins on there for Zverev, and there's good wins. There's plenty of good wins for Alcaraz. Screw it. Let's bring it up. It's too important. All right, let's put up that head-to-head on the screen really quick. Like I said, Zverev won the first 2 pretty easy. Alcaraz is very young. And then in Madrid, things changed. Alcaraz, not his first beatdown of Zverev in Madrid, 6-3, 6-1 in 2022. Zverev comes right back in 2022 before the ankle injury in the semifinals and beats 4th set tiebreak, beats him in 4, Zverev does, in the quarters 2 years ago. Madrid, they play again the next year. Now, keep in mind, this is a very different Zverev who's coming off of that horrible injury from the French Open of 2022. But still, Alcaraz 6-1, 6-2s him. Later that year at the U.S. Open, 6-3, 6-2, 6-4. Kind of like with Ruud, though, throw those ones out a little bit. Since then, later that year at the Nido Suido ATP Finals, like I said, Nadal never won there. It's not the best surface for Alcaraz. I think Alcaraz will have a better chance of winning at the ATP Finals than Nadal did. This game's a little better for it than Nadal's. But Zverev took him out after dropping the first set in a tiebreak, 6-3, 6-4. Beats him in the Australian Open quarterfinals pretty bad. It was kind of a shocking match this year, and that was, when me and I'm sure many people started saying Zverev is he's getting there. He's getting closer and closer, and maybe that ankle injury wasn't going to derail him. Maybe it just inspired him to work even harder. Maybe he's going to be a Grand Slam champion at some point. This does not bode well. As Daniel Medvedev said, Indian Wells plays like a clay court. It's an imposter hard court. And that was earlier this year. Alcaraz, that was probably his best tournament of the year, unless of course you count here if he wins tomorrow. 6-3, 6-1, thumped Zverev pretty good. Very hard to pick. My brain says it's going to be Sasha Zverev. Just kind of the stars are sort of aligning for him. I think that match with Sinner maybe took a lot out of Alcaraz. If Alcaraz is doing any cramping tomorrow, it's going to be big problems for him with Zverev, who hasn't been cramping. But my heart says Carlos Alcaraz is a very special player. He's going to be dominant like a big three style player. Yes, he's not big three yet. No one is. No one really deserves to be called that yet. But Alcaraz, Sinner too, has a really good chance of doing it. And I think he has a great chance to win tomorrow. I'm leaning towards Alcaraz wins tomorrow in 5 sets. I'm probably more unsure of this final pick than I've been in a long time. And that's probably because the big three aren't going to be a part of it. But I'm going to go with Alcaraz in 5. And maybe I'm just saying that because I have a great idea for an Alcaraz song to do after he wins. We'll be back after the finals, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. But we'll definitely be back.